A pregnant 12-year-old girl would vanish just weeks before her due date. Hello, true crimerers. This is the case of Celina Mays. Viewer discretion is advised. On May 28th, 1984, Celina Jeanette Mays was born into the world. Her parents were C.J. Mays and Lynn Vitale. In 1986, the family would relocate to Palmyra, New Jersey. Celina grew up in not a very stable household, unfortunately. Both of her parents at one point had been going through drug addictions. Her father had been abusive. There was domestic violence in the household. The mom and the dad had not a great relationship. So eventually it ended up in divorce. Now, her mom, Lynn, would end up cleaning herself up in terms of getting off of the addiction, and she found more stable work. Celina was starting to do really well in school. Everything seemed to be getting somewhat better for everyone. Meanwhile, CJ had pretty much joined his sister's church. This was the Gospel of Christ Ministries, and the church's pastor, her name was Sarita Smith. So this again is Celina's father's sister. This is her aunt. When Celina was 11 years old, something shocking happened. She became pregnant. And she was not willing to provide the father's name or who got her pregnant, even though everyone was trying to find out who got her pregnant at 11 years old. But she would end up carrying that baby, and she was 9 months pregnant when everything happened. Celina was about 2 to 3 weeks away from her scheduled due date. On December 15th, 1996, the morning started off like every morning usually does for them. Celina Mays had gone to church, which is her aunt's church. She then went back home with her family and they had ice cream. They talked for a bit. And by that evening, around 11 p.m., Celina is seen going into her room and going to sleep. The following morning, she had a 4-year-old stepsister, and the two of them were really close. The stepsister would go into Celina's room to wake her up. And when she looked at Celina's bed, it looked like someone was laying in it because the way the sheets and the pillows were all on there. But she pulls the sheets back and there's no one there. It appeared that Celina had deliberately formed the sheets and pillows to make it look like she was in her bed sleeping, but wasn't. But Celina was nowhere in the house and she was nowhere outside the house. What was more alarming was that all of her belongings were there. All of her clothing, her purse, her prenatal vitamins, all of it. Everything she needed was at home. So the family ends up reporting Celina missing to police. One relative of Celina stated that the night before she went missing, Celina told this family member, "Thanks for everything." And now that Celina is missing, they're realizing how kind of cryptic that sounded, almost like Celina knew she was going to be gone. For the next several weeks, police are putting her image all over the news. She's in the newspapers. They are asking for the public to come forward with anything they may have to find out what happened to her and where she is. But they really don't get a whole lot from that. They were extremely worried, though, because, again, she was supposed to be giving birth here very, very soon. And weeks would go by. And so at that point, they start reaching out to every hospital in that area of New Jersey. They have no reports of anyone matching Celina's description. I mean, they're gonna know. A 12-year-old girl giving birth in a hospital, people are gonna remember that. They found no hospitals, no clinics, nowhere that said Celina had come in there and given birth. They began to expand their search even farther. Still, nothing. She had to have given birth somewhere. Given her age, it would not have been a natural birth. It would have been a C-section, which would make it even more memorable for whoever may have done it. 12-year-old girl getting a C-section, you're never going to forget that if you're the one performing it. But again, nothing. I mean, they put this information out on the news to reach a much, much farther area. But again, still nobody came forward to state that this birth happened under their watch or their care. In January of 1997, a couple would report that they think they saw Celina in a restaurant in Howell, New Jersey, that she appeared to be in the company of a pastor and a few other people were at the booth with them. And if this was Celina, she was no longer pregnant. There was no indications that she was pregnant. Obviously, if this being sometime later, this is like a month or so, month and a half, 2 months later, that, yeah, she would have given birth. But there was no baby there. So was this Celina minus the baby? Was this not Celina at all? Police had to investigate this very thoroughly. They're able to track people down, and they determined that the girl that this witness saw, they found her, was not Celina. Meanwhile, police are digging into Celina's family. They learn about this tumultuous relationship between her birth mother and her father, how there was this major custody battle, how both of them, the mother and father, at one point had drug addictions. There had been domestic abuse in the household. It's kind of like a normal thing. You're going to look into those people, as being your suspects here, but they couldn't find anything to suggest that either the mother, the father, or anyone had anything to do with whatever may have happened to Celina. Not only this, but the both sides of the family now were basically going at each other's throats, blaming each other for whatever may have happened to her. And these are unfounded accusations and claims. They said that, the father was hiding her to keep her away from her. The father then accused Lynn, Celina's mom, of kidnapping Celina and taking her somewhere away from the father. So this may have been some kind of like retaliation to make sure that he never gets to see her. This would lead to a lot of uncooperation from all members of the family. When you have people going at each other's throats, accusing the other side, with this missing girl also kind of in the focus here, none of them really wanted to say anything to police. There is a major speculation that whatever happened to Celina may have happened because of her church. The Gospel of Christ ministry, which again the pastor was Celina's aunt. Celina had become a member of the church. She would go there all the time, and so would her biological father. Celina seemed to be happy there. She sang in the choir. She was a good singer. Her religion was very, very important to her. And this would sort of bring up the topic of, well, if she's 12 years old or 11 years old when she got pregnant, why wasn't the concept of abortion brought up? And so they were able to determine that because this family is so heavily involved in church, that they were never going to get her an abortion because that would go against their beliefs. Despite the fact that Celina was obviously raped by someone who she won't give up, they still said, no, we need to go forward with the pregnancy. Because of how frequently she would attend church, even after she was gotten pregnant, there was a lot of thought that one of the members of the congregation may be the father. There was a suspicion of a 16 or 17-year-old boy who was maybe the father. And they were trying to bring up the idea of taking blood tests to see if they could identify who the father was. Celina didn't like that. She goes, I don't want you guys to know who it is. She said the person who did this was not a member of the church, but could she have been saying that to protect him? And again, she was not cooperative with wanting to do a DNA test or a blood test to find out the father. So police are looking into the church, specifically into Sarita Smith, the pastor. They learned that she is described as an authoritarian-style pastor. She is very strict. She is belligerent at times, had a humongous personality. She was a force to be reckoned with. And also they found out that Sarita allegedly was trying to control everything to do with Celina specifically, but also just the entire family. She was manipulative and very much involved in trying to kind of orchestrate how that whole family operated. What makes matters even worse is that Sarita had a son, and her son was 23-year-old Sean Smith. Sean was a father as well. He was, I think, 22 or 23 when all of this occurred. Well, he had gotten into trouble with the law previously for sex-related crimes, sexual assault, and that kind of thing, and there was speculation that Sean Smith may have allegedly been the father of Celina's baby, which would be her own cousin. Sarita protected her son, and she made sure he did not cooperate with police She really didn't cooperate with police. As a matter of fact, the entire congregation seemed to have been told, don't cooperate, and they didn't. Does that mean they had anything to do with her disappearance, though? Not necessarily. It could just be that they don't want the scrutiny of the police on their church and them bothering the congregation for things that have nothing to do with them. But it is also very suspicious that Celina was frequently at the church. Sarita was a very controlling person. Her son had gotten into trouble for sexual assaults, but that all could just be coincidence. Could have nothing to do with it. Did Celina run away? Well, if she did, she brought nothing with her. None of her information has ever been used. There have been, other than that one sighting at a restaurant, which turned out not even to be her, there have been no sightings of her. So did the church move Celina? Almost like a witness protection type thing? Did they put her somewhere safely because maybe the father of the baby was trying to do something? Could be, they don't know. But why wouldn't they tell at least a trusted member of the police force or the detective, hey, she's over here, we just don't want some people finding out. It didn't really make much sense. So there is a possibility the church could have relocated her and just were not going to fess up as to where they moved her. Maybe they also supervised her birth and they put the baby and Celina somewhere out there in the world, never to be seen by literally anyone ever again. Like, not one sighting of her. Did the church maybe kill her because of the pregnancy and because of the potential implications that one of the congregation, maybe even the pastor's own child, got this 11-year-old girl pregnant? And so they had to get rid of her before she could say who the father was, or before a blood test could be done. Because the blood test thing seemed to be really a big catalyst here, because Celina's like, no, I can't do one of those. She almost seems scared about doing that. There's a lot of theories. There's a lot of possibilities. But the one thing that remains constant is 12-year-old Celina Mays disappeared, and she has never been seen since. She disappeared just weeks before she was supposed to give birth. There are no records anywhere in that entire surrounding area of anyone matching her description in that situation giving birth, especially not having a C-section. Could have been some kind of under-the-table doctor who did it. Maybe someone was paid to do it. Maybe family delivered the baby. Or maybe Celina is dead. There is that possibility as well. The family at one point believed that Celina is likely dead. That she was probably, maybe, allegedly killed because of that baby. But the police don't have any substantial evidence to prove any theory. All they really have is speculation and hearsay. They really don't even have any kind of circumstantial evidence. They have nothing. And that's kind of a scary thing, because how does a 12-year-old pregnant girl go missing like that and to not ever be seen anywhere by anyone giving birth? But unfortunately, all they have is rumor and gossip. They have nothing substantial. No concrete evidence, no forensic evidence, no camera footage of her seen anywhere, no CCTV. They have no witnesses who can say they definitely saw her. And unfortunately, that is where it stands today. 12-year-old Celina, who would be in her 40s now, gone. These are a couple images of what she may have looked like over the years as she grew into an adult. And there is a chance that maybe someone recognizes the images and go, oh my God, that's, so-and-so. I know who that is. She looks very familiar. Just because, even if you're hesitant of like, I don't know if it's her or not, everything matches up, the age matches up, the image matches up, call police anyway, because even if you don't think it's significant, police might. They need to make sure that even a possibility of her being identified somewhere exists. So they need to be able to check out that potential tip. They said that over really the past 25, 30-ish years or so, they've only ever gotten about 250 total tips and leads. All of them have led to nothing. Someone somewhere out there has got to know what happened to Celina Mays. She cannot just disappear, give birth all on her own without any help. And so someone knows the someone who may have helped her. Or Celina Mays was killed, and someone knows something about the person or persons involved in killing her. Maybe she was abducted and kept as a captive for weeks or months on end until the baby was born, and maybe they kept the baby and then got rid of her. A lot of possibilities. but someone out there has got to know. Perhaps that someone is you. If you have any information on the whereabouts of Celina Mays and also potentially her born child, please contact the authorities at 609-877-2200. You can also report information anonymously to 1-800-843-5678. If you know something, if you saw something, if you heard something, please come forward and say something. If Celina Mays can come home alive still, then that's what needs to happen. But if she was killed, please help Celina Mays get the justice that she very rightfully deserves. But that is it for this case. True crime, Rooney, Dooney, Dingleberry Dongs. I hope you found it interesting. As usual, if you're new here, hello, my name is Mike. I tell true crime stories here on YouTube, obviously. So please subscribe if you're into that kind of thing. Leave a like, drop a comment, because it helps more people see the video. Hit the bell so you're notified when I post new videos. I also tell short form true crime stories over on TikTok. The link to my TikTok is in the description of this video below in the link tree. Also in that link tree, you will find my case list, which is over 7,300 names long. If there's a case you want me to cover that you don't see on that list, please email me. My email is listed below. Just the name of the case, where it happened, and when it happened. I'll add that name to my list. I can't promise you I'll cover it, but I will get to it eventually. Now, if you are a loved one to a missing or murdered person, or you want it's a solved case and you still want their story told, just let me know in the email that you are a family member, and I can make sure that case gets a higher priority. So just let me know in the email. But that is actually it for this video, True Crime Rooney. So until the next case, ta-ta for now.